El Paso native Danny Olivas was an astronaut on the Space Shuttle Atlantis and Discovery, and now he's sharing his expertise in a mission with the University of Texas at El Paso. But his career dates back to childhood, 7 years old to be exact.
7.
Was there a specific moment, or that you saw something on TV? Or?
No, actually, I was on a family vacation with my parents, and we were in Houston, Texas, and they had taken me to go see all these really cool things. We went to the Astrodome, went to AstroWorld, which is an amusement park they used to have there, Gulf of Mexico, but the thing that really resonated with me is we went to Johnson Space Center.
Olivas says it took some time to get to space, including just getting into NASA.
To get into NASA, I applied. I started in 1988, and I finally got an interview in 1997. So 9 years of applying. And then I got into the program.
As his NASA career progressed, Olivas not only was flying into space, but also was assigned to be a spacewalker.
And never having done a spacewalk, I'd never been in space. I was a rookie, so everything was brand new to me. Had to learn everything. The crew that actually had been formed, STS-117, had actually been in place prior to Columbia. But because of Columbia and then delays that occurred and moving around of personnel, a slot was made available on 117 as they staffed up a subsequent flight, and I was inserted into that crew. So they had a bunch of guys who had already knew a lot about what they were going to do, and I had to play a lot of catch up.
Olivas says he remembers what the feeling was like on his first launch day.
Please God, don't let me screw up. That's all I cared about. I don't want to screw up. You train so much that you feel very confident actually heading out to the pad. You know what you need to do, and you've rehearsed it time and again. By the time you go to the launch pad on launch day, so first off, you hope to launch when you're supposed to launch, and depending on weather, depending on conditions, depending on the vehicle, sometimes you don't really know it's going to actually take off until the main engines fire up. And even then, you're not even guaranteed, because they had a mission where they shut down the main engines before the solid rocket boosters lifted off. Anyway, but no, I think there's a level of, you're a professional, it's your job, it's what you've trained your life to do. And at least I approached it from a perspective that I've got to go do my job now.
Olivas remembers what it was like when he was in space and took his first look at the Earth. He says he felt a deep appreciation for everyone who helped him along the way, and he wished he could share that moment.
There's nothing in the world that comes close to being able to describe what you see from orbit, around our globe. Pictures and videos don't do justice. And you want to bottle it up and you want to bring it back home, but you can't. You want to share it with the people that are close to you, and you want to be able to give them that experience. And so there's a little bit of a disappointment in not being able to do that, because it's just the most phenomenal experience that I think a human being can ever have, is to be someplace where God never made us to live there, but yet we're there.
When it was time for him to complete his spacewalk, Olivas also had to install the first solar panels on the International Space Station. After that, he says he remembered having a moment to take it all in.
And it was beautiful, because it was a nighttime pass, and I was over the Indian Ocean. And I knew it was because I could see the coastline of India all the way out to Myanmar. And it was so distinct, it was like looking at a map. And then I rotated out and I looked out into space, and you get the sense of isolation, but also the sense, the enormity of the vastness of the universe. And it's only things that we can see with our eyeballs, and it goes much further than that.
Olivas says it was a bittersweet moment when the Space Shuttle was retired.
I was proud to have had an opportunity to serve in the program while the Space Shuttle was the Space Shuttle program. And I kind of wish the hurrah that people were willing to come out and see as the Space Shuttle flew on top of the shuttle carrier aircraft had been there the entire time. I mean, I was in LA when Space Shuttle Endeavour landed in Los Angeles International Airport, and every freeway was stopped. People were standing on a freeway outside their cars, taking pictures. People were waving, people were crying, people had American flags, and they were all excited. And I appreciate that they understand and can appreciate that it is a representation of what we've done as a country. However, if every shuttle flight had that level of enthusiasm, I think our leaders might understand and appreciate the value more of what spaceflight can do. I mean, spaceflight is the only, think about it, spaceflight is the only investment that our government makes that is focused on the positive. It's focused on the future.
From watching the stars with his father to walking in space, Danny Olivas says he's grateful for those who helped him get there, from his father to a college professor, his wife, and the many amazing people at NASA. For KRWG, I'm Anthony Moreno.